Hey everybody, what's going on, and welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And today we're doing another episode of Guns N' Roses True Story, and we're talking about a show that Guns N' Roses played in May of 2012. So Guns N' Roses were touring Europe on their Up Close and Personal tour. They'd first started the tour off in North America. They played some smaller gigs that really were different from some of the previous shows on the Chinese Democracy Tour. They didn't have pyrotechnics on the North America leg of the tour. But then when they went to Europe, they were also playing some smaller venues. They played a show in Liverpool, England, and things didn't really get off to a good start. The band played on a Sunday night. They got on the stage 2 hours late, which is pretty normal for Guns N' Roses. Even when Axl was touring with his version, the band was frequently late. It wasn't until like 2014 and then the Not in This Lifetime tour that the band started to show up on time. So during the band's performance in Liverpool, things got a little testy when the band took the stage 2 hours late. And at one point during the set, Axl Rose stopped the group's performance when a fan threw a beverage on stage in his direction. And at that point, Axl gave the crowd a warning, but eventually continued the show. Here's footage of what happened.
If you want to know shit, we got no problem going home. Otherwise, we'd all like to have a good time tonight, right? So don't fuck it up for your friends here tonight. Thank you very much. Let's start the song over. Wherever you are.
Now, Axl had been hobbling around during the set a bit because when Guns N' Roses kicked off their 2012 European tour, they played 2 shows in Moscow. And after their first show, Guns N' Roses were out partying at a club, and Axl was dancing on a table and fell off the table. And he tweeted this photo that shows the injuries to his leg. Now, it didn't impact any of the tour dates. They still did their tour commitments as promised. Now, Axl, at the end of the gig in Liverpool, thanked the audience for putting up with his hobbling ass, as he put it, but then he fell again on stage towards the end of the show. He's backing up towards the stage and he trips over probably a staircase or something. Here's footage of that trip.
Coming out. You guys have been great. Thanks for putting up with my hobbling around. Be safe getting out of here. Watch out for the po-po. We love you and we hope to see you again.
Now, following the show, Guns N' Roses were hammered by the local press. The Liverpool Echo wrote a scathing review of Guns N' Roses' show. Their headline read, "Late show by Guns N' Roses was an insult. It's a shame when success goes to people's head, isn't it?" So the article said, it's a shame when success goes to people's heads, isn't it? It's a shame when pampered prima donnas lose all sense of perspective, reality, and respect for those who help make them superstars. And it's a shame when they appear to have no idea they've fallen so far from grace. So a great deal of shame has been heaped on Guns N' Roses, who kept their Echo Arena audience waiting for 2 hours without so much as an apology, and they deserve all the brickbats coming their way. Singer Axl Rose, the only original member of the band, finally led his troops on stage at 11 p.m. The gig finished at 1:55 a.m. It may have been at their own convenience, but certainly wasn't at the convenience of fans who forked out tickets and were forced to wait for their heroes, or in some case, ex-heroes decided to grace them with their presence. How pathetic, how arrogant, how childish, and how insulting. Perhaps they thought they were being truly rock and roll, or perhaps they were just idiots and spoiled brats who have been overindulged by an army of music business mediocrites who too scared to tell them a few home truths. True stars don't treat their audiences with such contempt. Could you imagine Paul McCartney behaving like this? It's difficult to do so, isn't it? And it's difficult because true legends like Paul McCartney simply wouldn't act that way. As well as buying wristwatches, perhaps Guns N' Roses need to decide whether they're in the music industry to please their fans or treat them like dirt. So it's a pretty scathing review, but it was kind of a shame that the review didn't really talk at all about the gig itself or how the band sounded. And maybe the person didn't even go to the gig, but there was definitely some people who were less than pleased with the time the band went on stage. So the same newspaper interviewed some fans who went to the gig, and it basically said that Guns N' Roses fans' fury over late start at Echo Arena concert. Guns N' Roses frontman sparked internet fury after he took to the stage in Liverpool more than 2 hours late last night. So Guns N' Roses frontman sparked internet fury. It says outraged fans branded the rocker disrespectful after he kept them waiting until 11 p.m. at the city's Echo Arena. And it said the 50-year-old was booed and jeered by the crowd when he eventually came on stage. They talked a bit about the drink that was thrown on stage. They said that angry audience members contacted the Echo to share their frustration about the delayed start, but some said it should have been expected. They interviewed a disabled fan who was 48 from Kirkby, who had to leave just after 2 songs to catch his train home. He said, "It was such a waste of time. I came out totally distressed. It was a complete joke and a total disgrace. Someone in the crowd threw something at him, and I understand because people were so frustrated. If I could have gotten up on stage, I would have ran him over with my mobility scooter. I was so upset." They also interviewed a dad of 2 who said that he did not get home until 2 a.m. He said the doors opened at 6:30, but they did not come on until 11 p.m., and people were starting to chant derogatory comments and boo. He also said the band was unbelievable, but just for the arrogance to come walking on with no explanation, I think it's disgraceful. They also interviewed another person who said the steward told me that they kept fans waiting in Nottingham as well, and he said it was more acceptable when it was a Friday or Saturday night, but not on a Sunday when 90% of people have to get up early for work or teenagers have to go to college. And they also interviewed another person named Charlotte Roberts who spoke on Echo's Facebook page. They said most people know Axl Rose's history for coming on late at gigs. They would have known what to expect. A couple other people added that I can't understand why fans would expect them on stage at the published time. They've always been late starters. A simple Google search would tell you it's been the same for this tour. So that does it for this episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. Let me know your thoughts, and do you remember this gig that Guns N' Roses played back in 2012, or did you go see them on the Up Close and Personal tour back in 2012? Leave your comments in the section below, and be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. Also, go visit us on gnrcentral.com for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news as it happens. Take care.